Okay, so we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our one of our last panels here on the Semana First no Brasil. And here today we have some very special people joining us. They're coming from all around the world to talk to you about the experience they had with FRC and how they've been facing the challenges related to establishing and make it work in their country, and how they can share those experiences with us here in Brazil and with each other to make FRC stronger and both make our teams grow on a more sustainable way. So we're very happy to have them here. So I already thank all of them for being here and being part of this panel. And so my name is Bruno. I'm from FRC team 1156 here in Brazil. And with me, I have Aline.
Hey there. So I'm also from 1156, but I'm a student. I'm going to be the host today, also with Bruno, and I hope that you all enjoy this panel as much as I am already doing with these incredible people. And so let's introduce them now. So first we have representation from South Africa.
Hello guys, my name is Mikhaeel. I'm currently the mentor of FRC Team 7523, based in South Africa. I competed in the 2019 regional in Sydney, and from there we won Rookie All-Star and went to championships in Detroit, and we won the Rookie Inspiration Award. I was involved in FIRST through the FIRST Global Challenge. I competed in the inaugural challenge in 2017 as well as 2018, and that's how we met, and that's actually how we got into FRC. We met Jessa and Diane from Redbacks, Australia.
That's awesome. Thanks for presenting this incredible experience. So we have another representation from Brazil.
So, hi, I'm Gabriela. I'm from Team 1772. I'm a mentor. I joined FIRST in 2015 as a student. So, I still working with FIRST, but as a mentor now, and that's it.
Great. That's awesome. And for the last but not least, we have an incredible representation from Turkey.
Hello, I'm Alex. I started in 2005 on Team 360 in Tacoma, Washington. And while going through the program, my team and my family helped start the first Turkish team, 2905. And from there, we've grown a bit. I volunteered while I was in college. And when I graduated, I moved here to Istanbul to run the Fikret Yüksel Foundation, which is my family foundation. And we manage the FIRST Robotics Competition here in Turkey. With last year, we had 2 regionals.
Wow.
Yes,
That's
an awesome job. We've been looking at Turkey as an inspiration for several years now, because you guys have gone through. We hope to follow a very similar path in the next years, because you guys in little time established 2 regionals, several teams, several great teams. So we hope to be heading your way. So I'm gonna take your presentation to already connect to one of our first themes that we want to talk about here, which is the main challenge to establish FRC in your country, and how has your team achieved success. So it's a very general question about what do you think is the most challenging part of bringing FIRST into a new country, and how is FRC, what are the main goals or the main usage cases in FRC that we can take to improve these experiences, and we can make it easier for global teams to join FRC. So I think we can start with Mikhaeel, if you can, and then we'll move around. So I think it's a little easier.
Okay. Well, we started last year. We're the only South African team. We actually then inspired Team Lesotho. In our country, we have a country inside our country, like full. So we actually inspired them, and they started their own FRC team as well. I think they were going to compete either in Turkey or China, but then obviously with the whole lockdown and Corona situation, they didn't go. I think one of the main challenges we faced here is actually exposure and understanding of robotics in our country. It's really it's not well known, and when we talk about robotics and being in these competitions, people are really fascinated, but they don't understand what's happening. We went to our governments, we showcased what we have done in First Global as well as the FRC, and tried to explain to them, we need the America, Australia, and the unknown sponsorships when we didn't have. But fortunately for us, we came into contact with Dow Chemicals from South Africa, and they are like very, very supportive towards us. They pay for our flights and our robot kit and so forth. But the main challenge would be the cost and not getting support from our communities and from our school and from our government. It's more like we have to go there and fight to try and tell them like this is what they need.
Yes, so you are like the first to come out. So that I can imagine that's very difficult because you have to go through so many challenges to get the kit to fund your team and make everything work. And as a veteran team, that's already difficult for us. So imagine it must have been a whole different level for you. So very 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 happy that you guys succeeded, and it's very very cool to see how like you just said that you guys started and soon you inspired another team to start, and I think that's how FIRST works, and that's how FRC is supposed to work, because you get one team that's really good that can have success and show to everybody, hey, this is gonna work, join us, you can change the world through this, and then more people start joining the bus, and you start having a community, right? So very nice.
Exactly.
Great. So can you hear a little about, I think, Gabriela, you can tell us a little about your experience here in Brazil?
So 1772 is a team for public high school students. So we needed an association called HTEC to help us with the process to get sponsors. And when the association started, it was only Team 1772. Nowadays, we have teams in Santa Catarina and Paraná, and also Springbots is from HTEC as well. So that helped. So we have sponsors that help achieve us going to the competition. GMs it was our first and it is our most important partnership. And also, I agreed with Mikhaeel, like it's really hard to make people understand what FIRST really is. Like it's not just a robotics competition, there's so much more than that. We all know that, but it's hard to make people understand, like, no, chairman is the most important award, it's not the robot. So there's a lot of things that is hard. Like in Brazil, people is not you used to see robotics in schools, especially in the public schools. So I think that was the most difficult part, to find the sponsors and to make people believe in the project.
Great. And so, what about you, Alex? So, what would you say was the greatest challenges, and how have you guys gone over it there in Turkey on establishing FRC and FIRST?
So I agree with the others that one of the biggest challenges was explaining it to people. When we started with Darüşşafaka, the only reason that team sustained is because our foundation said to the school that they were at, you're going to use our donation every year to run a robotics team. Had we not done that, the school would have closed the team without a doubt, because the school didn't understand it. The kids on the team understood it, but the people running the school were incredibly difficult. And then as we grew, that was one of the biggest struggles, trying to explain it to people. And without having events in the country, it's extremely difficult to explain. FIRST is very, very easy to explain if you can take somebody to an event and show them what's going on. They walk in, look at it for about 5 minutes, and they're like, I got it. I'm joining. But without the event to show them, it is incredibly difficult to explain. And so after like 6 or 7 years of slowly gaining a team here and there, and at the time that I graduated, we decided that we needed to run an off season here in Turkey to be able to show sponsors, schools, government officials, everybody what this program really is. And once we did that, things started snowballing. The other really big challenge to running FRC here is dealing with the customs department. The first few years, teams had 2 weeks to build their robot because customs would hold the kit for 4. And even in our first few years of the off season, we weren't sure if we were going to have an off season, because we'd send the stuff a month, 2 months before the event, and it would get here a month before the event, and then we'd fight with customs until the day before the event, and then they were like, fine, have your stuff. And we were like, so dealing with customs has actually also been one of our biggest struggles. And the way we overcame that is by making good connections in the education department, first in the city of Istanbul, and now we have connections with the National Department of Education, and that really, really helps make customs smoother.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I totally agree with you when you said that people cannot understand FIRST without seeing it, because here in Brazil, FRC events have not happened since 2008. 8? Oh, yes. I thought it was 2009. Sorry. Oh, yeah. And then we had an off-season event here, and a lot of people in our community were, that's what you were been talking about since ever. And we're like, yes, that's all we've been talking about. And they're like, oh, I thought it was something different. Aren't they fighting robots? And it's very even if they see videos, it's something that you have to experience. You have to be there to understand. It's not it's pretty incredible how this works. But so this is one of the things that we think is a really important path to success, is having real events happening in the country, or as we have already 16 teams in Brazil for FRC. I mean, it's important now to establish real events and make it happen yearly or twice a year, so people can see and can feel motivated to create teams. So that's a good path. But one thing that we are it's also important is that to make events, we need material, we need a field, we need game pieces. And that's something that at least here in Brazil we see that we have representatives for FLL, First Lego League, and now First Tech Challenge, but as for FRC, that's a different situation. So material is really hard to get, as FRC is the biggest category in matters of building things. So it's a quite complicated topic when we're talking about accessibility of game pieces and building materials. So how was that for you guys, mainly in Turkey, that you have had an event there? How was that for you guys?
Yeah, just for context, here in Brazil right now, so we can't like just get from FIRST the kit. We have a very similar problem that you guys had, where a lot of new teams try to import their kit parts, and it's gonna be stuck in customs for 4 weeks of the 6 weeks of build season, and that does not make sustainable growth possible. So what has happened in the last few years is some companies, very good companies and very competent ones, have stepped up to make the process a little bit easier to import the kit. So they've been working with FIRST to get the kits in Brazil before kickoff, so they can give to those teams. But the problem, and that has worked on the last few years, and it's great. But one of the issues with that is that the process of importing the kit is still very expensive, even with somebody making the whole thing to get here on time. Not only the time is not an issue, but the price is also another, because the conversion between reales and dollars is getting worse and worse every year. So the price of the kit has going up, and the price of participation is also significant. So that one of the things that has made it possible for the FRC teams to happen in Brazil next year is that we're not going to have only official teams start. We're going to have mostly like pre-rookie ones, so they're getting a smaller kit with a smaller. They're not going to be official teams until the other season, and we're going to have a small off-season event. So some things are going to change on that matter, so we can make it possible. But some of the solutions we're thinking to help on that is, like you said, try to get government officials to approve laws or other types of the support we need to reduce the price of importation on those products. So that's just some context on how it's going.
So how about you guys? Do you have any how is for you to buy material or buy the kits? Like, do you have any problems with currency or anything like that? Or is it okay for you?
I'll just, from here in South Africa, I think we ordered the kit from the first FRC company. Where our kit was in customs in our country, but they delayed, and we had our robot kit.
I think you're cutting up a little, Mikhaeel. I'm not sure if that's just for me.
Yeah, no, it's for me too. I think your connection is
A little slow.
is having ups and downs. So what about you, Gabriela? Does your team have any situations with kids? And
Yes, like sometimes we go to the robotics shop and there's a box there and we're like, oh, we bought stuff, and the answer is like, yes, last year. So sometimes it takes a lot of time to receive the kit, and like Bruno said, it's really expensive for us because the dollar is really high right now. So we have this kind of problem as well, like you said. But we have our founder is from team 4613 in Australia. So sometimes he bought things there and sent to us. So it's a little bit more less expensive. So that's one way that we do with partnership with other teams. We have also sometimes people from our team that travels to United States and they bring things for us in Brazil. So that's how we do sometimes.
That's a great way to deal with the situation. That's what we've been doing since ever, I guess. we ask for someone that's going to the US, or like we go to the US, like one representative of our team goes there.
Yes, that usually works, but it's an issue because it's not a sustainable form, right? Because not everybody's gonna have access. Because so if you have like 15 new teams, they can't have like one person going to the US and getting the kit, because that's gonna end up in customs. So yes, that will work, but that's what I'm curious to hear about, Alex. And in Turkey, how have you guys how are you guys managing this process of getting not only kit parts materials, but like game pieces and like field materials on Turkey, or how has you streamlined this process to make sure that teams have access to the game pieces and building materials too?
So for the kits, generally for everything that we bring into Turkey, usually slightly before it comes, we call the office of the education minister in Istanbul. We give them a list of what's coming, and we have them write a letter, and that helps speed it through customs. It doesn't, however, really affect the price, and so the kit of parts costs an extra $600-ish per team in Turkey to cover customs. And one of the ways we've streamlined getting it here on time is that the foundation pays all the customs up front. We deal with the shipping of bringing all of the kits in. We bring them to our office. We pay the customs to the customs office, and then teams pay us their own customs, which is accounting-wise a pain, but it gets all the kits here on time, and it avoids the my site shipping fee, which is an extra $600 to the teams. So the teams don't pay shipping, but they do pay customs here. For game pieces, that is an ongoing struggle. This last year, a group started an Andy Mark, like a franchise kind of thing here in Turkey. But even for them, since they're doing it for profit, they don't get quite as many benefits as we do, and they have a much harder time with customs. So that hasn't really made things smoother or cheaper, to be honest. A lot of teams still just order from the US and they pay double what they should be, because that's what happens when you order anything from the US.
Yes.
Customs tax is 18%. Well, customs is 1%. Sales tax is 18%. You pay shipping. You're paying in Turkish lira, which as of yesterday, it was $1 is 7 lira and 50 cents. When I moved here, it was $1 is 3.3 lira, and now it's 7.5, and that's in 5 years. So like you guys mentioned, you know, the local currency drops every year. The event gets an extra 5,000 more expensive in local currency every year. And that's a real struggle for the teams. And here in Turkey, one of the ways we deal with that is we're fortunate that the foundation that I run is doing reasonably well. It's based off the profits of a corporation in the US. So we try to help, we give grants to most of the teams in Turkey to try to keep registration to be like at not number amount parity, but in value parity with the US. We try to at least keep it to that point. Like somewhere around 15,000 Turkish lira is similar to what $5,000 would be to an American team ish. So we try to keep registration somewhere around there, which is very expensive for us, but it helps the teams a lot. It is one way we try to make things a little more fair for the teams here. But it's a really, really difficult problem. And like I said, we're really fortunate that we have the money to be able to do that.
Yes, yes, it's a very large logistical problem, and it's not something that you can solve overnight, right? Something that has to do with internal politics. It has to do with international politics, and it's not something that's going away soon. So yes, finding supporters like your foundation, and that's the job. The job you guys do is awesome. So hopefully, it's gonna the company is gonna still be doing well for several years, so you guys can continue doing that on Turkey. Yes, and that's some of the ways is getting like local partners that can make things happen in Brazil. So in Brazil, not only Brazil, in your country. So here in Brazil, what has happened is we have a very large and very dedicated local partner, which is our SESI. It's the conglomerate of industries here in Brazil, and they have been running FOL for several years, and that has worked super well. They have established like 600 FOL teams here with good quality teams. Now they have started FTC, several FTC teams. We already have almost 40 FTC teams running here in Brazil, and now the next step is FRC. So hopefully gonna see that working, and hopefully they're gonna be able to do some what you guys have done here there in Turkey, and make sure that the teams have a streamlined process that we know it's not gonna be cheap, it's not gonna be accessible to everybody, but it's gonna be there's gonna be a way to get there. It's not gonna be like a lot of barriers to be able to get the kit at your lab. So that's already a very good start. So on that topic, how important would you guys say that running an off-season event, so not one during the season, but something that's going to happen, maybe not officially, maybe not with the official game elements, but that's going to get the people together? How would you rate that on a scale of importance on making sure to have new teams and development on the first community in your country? What would you say about that issue? I think we can go with you, Alex. I don't know if I think Mikhaeel is still a bit.
No, I think Alex and Gabby can go for this one. We don't have enough teams to go for an off season.
Right. I think running off seasons is incredibly important. We definitely wouldn't have started growing in Turkey much beyond where in 2015, we had 8 teams, having started in 2009 with 1. And I think it would have continued like that for a long time. From 2015 to 2016, we went from 8 to 20, and then to 30, and then to 54, 80, and last year was 104. That wouldn't have been possible without doing off seasons to show the public what this is, show the schools what this is, show stubborn principals what this is, who are like, why aren't my kids studying for their tests, blah, blah, blah. Never mind that they're usually the kids that do the best in their school anyways. Why aren't they in their class studying for their test? Because they're doing something amazing. And when you come see that, okay, you can do robotics. I think it's the most important thing that you can do is to hold at least an off-season event to show people what this is. And once you get those going regularly, you'll start growing pretty fast, because everybody will be like, hey, I want to do that. That looks awesome.
Yes, that's the main advantage with FRC, right? Because not only is it a program where you learn so much, but it's a program that is so interesting to watch and participate, not only as a student but as a spectator, right? You can really see that those robots, the game, it's interesting, it's nice, it's something that you want to participate in once you see that it's running on your town. And if I wasn't on FRC, I wouldn't gonna miss a regional on my city, because it's just so interesting to be part of it. But yeah, that's a really important step on getting FRC and first program established. And on that note, we also have other first programs, right? We have FLL and FTC, First Tech Challenge and First Lego League, have been growing a lot globally in the last few years. And how do you guys think FLL and FTC, so the earlier programs on the first progression system, how do you think creating those teams, or if establishing FLL or FTC teams can cause an impact on getting new FRC teams, or how can that help creating a stronger FRC community? I think we can. Mikhaeel, do you guys have any FLL and FTC teams in South Africa?
So we do have FLL and FTC. I only heard of it in 2018. The first time I was exposed to anything related to FIRST was in 2017 because of the first global challenge that they launched in DC. I got in by, like, I wrote a test. One of the mentors from a university came to our school, and he came to the principal. He said he came to many schools as well, and principals turned him away, representing your country. So I got involved in that and ended up representing South Africa in the first thing, and connecting with teams that actually were involved in FLL and FT. And it was running for about, been going on for a couple of years actually. But from my school, personally, I come from a public school in our country, and this is not anything that we focus on. The main thing we're focusing on is our sports, our soccer, our cricket, our tennis, and academic as well. So that actually then, I think in our country, I don't know why they didn't start FRC, but because of me being involved in First Global, we then met up with the founder of 1772, Jessa, and they asked us if we would like to compete in it. And we said, yeah, no, we would love to, but we didn't know it was such a big competition as well. So we just jumped straight into it. But definitely do not regret that. We love FRC, and I think that if we could convince a lot of the team members that are coming from FTC and FLL in our country to start an FRC team, I mean, it'll be great.
Yes,
Agreed.
yes. We have been doing a similar process here. We had several FTC teams that have started FTC a few years ago, are now going to FRC, and the translation process is so much easier for them, because FTC now is a very similar program to what FRC is. So going from First Tech Challenge to First Robotics Competition it's still a large step, because you're still going from 15 to any number of students. You're still dealing with larger robots, but you're dealing with similar technologies, so it makes the process easier, right? So what do you think, Alex, about other first programs? Can they help establishment of FRC?
I definitely think they help. My coworker, Aisha, she actually started in FIRST before I did. I think she started in 2004 on one of the first FLL teams in Turkey. And then but it definitely helps. In Turkey, we don't have FTC yet. 1 or 2 teams have tried to start, and honestly, I don't know what ended up happening with that because there's no competitions in Turkey, and the competitions are a little less open than FRC ones. So I don't know if they were able to compete or not. But I think there's plans to start FTC this year, but we'll see. But FLL, there's a couple hundred teams in Turkey now, and it definitely helps. For example, last year, we held one of the Open Internationals in Turkey. The FLL partner did in Izmir, and we went to that. Aisha and I judged, and Aisha talked to teams. She set up a booth, had one of the teams from the city, the Open International, was in, bring their robot and drive it around. And we definitely convinced some, I think we convinced 1 or 2 teams to start out of that. The FLL and FRC are somewhat separate here because we run FRC and there's another partner, Science Heroes organization that runs FLL in Turkey. And I think probably we could do a better job of informing each other on, like, hey, once you leave FLL, there's FRC, and for FRC students, we could probably, I think it would be fun to bring FLL teams to the regionals and show off the program and say, hey, you can always help out your younger friends.
Yes.
There is a lot of teams helping each other now, but I think we could, from both sides, do a better job of encouraging that. But I definitely think it helps to have other FIRST programs. They build off of each other for sure, especially for volunteers. When you get to the point where you're running events, that part will be more important for you. And that we've definitely seen really good things come out of that. FLL students come volunteer at or former alumni from FLL who never had a chance to join FRC come volunteer at the FRC competitions. The FRC students volunteer at the FLL competitions. And there's a lot of, I think that will get things going between better than either of us as organizations will. But that's another important thing for this competition, that we've definitely seen really, really good things come out of volunteers going between the two.
Yes, yes. It's very important to have other FIRST programs, right? And we did start it here in Brazil with FTC, was to get some of the fields here, and it's a little bit easier to get fields and materials for FTC because they're smaller, so it can help also. So, and yes, the alumni and the community that is built around those FIRST programs is very, very important to make sure that the programs have the growth they need to be established. So
Oops, connection issues, I guess. But so we're thinking about plans, right? FRC has already been really established in Turkey. Here in Brazil, we are still looking for that. And in South Africa, we see that there is a growth happening, and Mikhaeel's team is like the pioneer of FRC in Africa, so in South Africa. So it's like very, very important. So how about plans? Do you plan to? What are the plans for your teams or for your institution from now on of establishing new categories? Do you plan to like create other teams? What do you think is that the next steps that your country is going to do for FRC right now?
Okay. Well, we definitely are planning to spread FRC throughout the country. we, well, obviously looking at people like Alex and Jessa, you know, taking inspiration from Reddy, and hopefully, you know, contacting them and, you know, getting details exactly on how they did it would help us a lot. But currently, I think we're gonna in our country right now as well. I think it's international, but we're gonna go through there. And I was talking with some of my lecturers at university with partnering with us, so we can actually partner with the university and you know students grow this first robotic system, and you know the building aspect. It's difficult to try and teach people in and things to spreading it the same way that other veterans have.
Pretty interesting. That's I think your connection is a bit
I'm so sorry.
because it's but we totally got you. Yeah. Everything's it's great.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that was an awesome conversation. I think we could have a lot. I'm just gonna ask you guys now, one of each, if you guys can have like, what would you say is a very important place to focus on when you're talking about establishing FRC and on a global first? What would you like to see, or what would you like to do to make sure FRC is a little bit easier, or is a little bit more accessible in your country? For here, we would like to make sure that in our country, would like to reduce like the amount of taxations and make sure we can have more government partners like Alex is doing in Turkey, so we can have like easier routes to both reducing the cost of entry and the easeability of the access to resources here. So that's for us. How about you? And we can start with I think we can start with Alex and then move to Michael and Gabriela.
So here in Turkey, I think, what would I most like to see? I think I would really like to see us be able to convince the Grand National Council to get rid of customs for educational imports, customs and sales tax, because actually the sales tax is much worse than the customs. But I think, and to be honest, I don't just want to see this for FRC. I'd like to see this for all things in the country. For example, now during Corona, students are trying to get laptops and tablets, and they're paying like twice what somebody would be paying in another country because of taxes and delays and all of that stuff. So both for FRC and for education in general in Turkey, I would very much like to see that problem fixed. And slowly we're working towards trying to find the right person to talk to at least get started on that, but that's going to take a long time.
Great. Yeah, it's very similar to the problem we have here in Brazil. The taxes and importations make everything so hard, and we know that it doesn't have to be like that, because we're not like reselling, we're not doing anything that it's education. In the end, it's going to improve the country as a whole, and not
exactly.
Just not like you said, computers for kids and for students. That's a no-brainer. That's a thing that shouldn't be as taxed as little as possible. So because that's an investment of the country on its people, right? So that's nice.
I think in South Africa, what I would like to see happen with FIRST FRC is having it integrated into our education system, where we have an allocated budget from the school, from our government, set aside towards that, and have it as a subject where, students would then look forward to it, and all types of students would come and compete and be involved, not only the ones that are good at their schoolwork, things like that. So I'd really love to see that. And yeah, as well as what you guys said about the import taxes and, made from the other countries.
Awesome. Yes. On that subject, also here in Brazil, we have some schools that have taken FOL as a curriculum activity, and it has been working great. So they have literally like weekly classes where they talk and interact with First Lego League materials, and have like teams, First Lego League teams as a curriculum activity, and that has improved both the performance of the teams as well as the engagement of the students, and has improved the engagement on other categories as well. So students that were very involved with FOL and engaged on that tended to move towards FTC and FRC as much. And here on our school, FRC is done. We have not on subject literally on FRC, but we try to connect as much as we can the work we do in robotics with the work the kids are studying, because in the end of the day, the skills that the kids are learning both in the FRC and on their curriculum are for life, are for like getting work, doing a job, or making them a better professional, and both have a very similar objectives and alignments. So regularly we can find on our school projects that we can work with FRC materials or FRC kids, or have FRC kids teach other kids about robotics and skills that they learn, like CAD, computer design, programming, and marketing and business, and all those things that are all so important on FRC. So that's a great thing.
That's really rare. That's cool.
Yeah. And you, Gabriela, what would you like to see?
So I think I'm going to have to say pretty much the same thing that you all said, because I think it would be really nice to have more government support and to have schools more connected with FIRST, especially FL and FTC, because they're cheaper, but also FRC. And I think that's the most easy way to spread FIRST, to make it popular. So I think would be what we really would like to have.
Yeah, and hopefully we can follow the steps of Alex to have a community established here in Brazil as well for FRC, and I think that's the solution. That's where we need to get, where we can have a community, a group of teams that is joined by the sole purpose of competing and of changing the world together. So I think that's going to be what makes the change between FRC being a very hard to get into and very specific program to being a very national and be able to have its own culture here in Brazil and on other countries as well. So on that note, guys, I thank you all so much for participating. This has been, for us, it's been very important. I hope you guys shared a little bit of experience. I hope it was an interesting conversation for you guys too. For me, it was awesome, and I for sure will be contacting you guys on the next few months to have others change other experiences to see how things are doing, and we hope to stay together as a community here on FIRST. Not only because we are all on a similar boat, we are all international firsters, so we need to get things running on a different pace than what's usually happening on FIRST. So we hope to see you guys in the future. Eventually, we're gonna head up to Turkey or to South Africa to have a competition. So hope that will happen. And once again, thank you all so much for participating. I hope I know that this will be very helpful for other FRC teams here in Brazil and for organizations. So thank you guys, and that's mostly it. Thank you everybody that's watching and joining this conversation between us. And I hope you all stay connected and safe. And that's it.
And
Thank you.
to Bruno, I just wanted to say that it has been an awesome experience to see how you guys managed to deal with all these situations that we are all facing here in Brazil, and to see how you guys are like managing to follow up, and even if we have to face challenges, we go ahead and do it, and not let these little but sometimes big challenges stop us from doing what is important, that is like spreading robotics to the world and to our countries. And I was very happy to see that, to listen to your stories. So if you want to add up to anything, we'll let you this space for you to talk now, and then we're going to end our panel today.
I want to say thank you for inviting us. It was really fun for me to be able to listen to how things are going for you guys in Brazil and in South Africa. I hope to see you guys in Istanbul one day at the regionals here. It'd be a lot of fun. Yes. We usually have teams from all over the world, so it'd be a lot of fun to see you guys here. It's good for the students here. They get to meet people from different places. You guys get to meet Turkish people, have some tea.
Yes. I was looking forward for the tea. They say it's really good. So
it is.
Hope it is.
Definitely.
I think also just want to say thank you to FRC team 1156 for hosting and putting me on the panel with these experts. You guys are, as soon as you'll come to South Africa, we're definitely going to have a meetup and we have some fun for sure.
Awesome. So we already have our weekend plan.
Definitely.
So thank you guys for inviting us. It was really nice to talk and to see how things happen in FIRST, so far away from us. And it's really nice to see and to show how the FIRST community is strong and always together. So thank you.
Thank you. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much all for participating, and I hope you stay tuned on our next few panels. So stay safe and good competitions, and good luck for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Hope
Good
to
luck.
see you soon. Hope to hear from you.